tempting to think, well, they're just greedy. They couldn't stop. You know, they were making so much money. These are oversights. You know, we've had greedy corporations in our history before, the jungle, right? That's not what this is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to tell you. I firmly believe, and I'll give you my evidence now, that this is a bioweapon and that we're under attack. So let me step back now and tell you who made the Pfizer injection. You may well think, as I did, that a German company made the Pfizer injection, but that's not true, or that's not the whole truth. Pfizer is a German-Chinese company, and specifically its subsidiary BioNTech, which it purchased right before the pandemic, is a German-Chinese company. BioNTech signed an MOU, which is a Memorandum of Understanding, with Fosun Pharmaceuticals in 2021. So Fosun Pharma is wholly owned by the Chinese Communist Party. It's one of the biggest and most important pharmaceutical companies in China. And you may not know that every corporation in China is basically run by the Chinese Communist Party or answers to the Chinese Communist Party. So, pardon me, which is why it's nonsense for Dr. Fauci to think that, you know, Wuhan is a bunch of independent scientists scampering along doing nice things for America. They're run by the CCP and by the People's Liberation Army of China. So Fosun Pharma, whose CEO is a senior official in the CCP, didn't just sign an MOU with BioNTech, but in 2021, if you look at the SEC filing, which is our stock exchange filing for BioNTech, it shows 100% completed tech transfer of the technology, the IP, from BioNTech to China. It doesn't say to a Chinese individual, to a Chinese company. It says the words to China, which means that right now in 2023, if you get a Pfizer injection, you're getting an injection whose IP, and IP can mean the formula that they're using. It can mean the data harvested from using it. It can mean the manufacturing process. It can mean any of those. But all of that is owned by China now when it goes into your American body in America. Not only that, Fosun Pharma, they don't give this injection to the people of China. And by the way, I'm an anti-racist. This is not an anti-Chinese position I'm taking. It's an anti-Chinese Communist Party position I'm taking because they want to kill us, okay? So the manufacturing plants, this stuff is not going into the people on the mainland of China. BioNTech and Fosun created 1 billion doses, and they opened 13 manufacturing plants in Western Europe to distribute these doses. And they opened 2 of them in the United States of America. One is in Princeton, New Jersey, and one is in Springfield, Massachusetts. CCP-owned manufacturing plants producing the injection that goes into the bodies of school children here in the United States of America. Now, in 2018, there was a study by a group of Chinese scientists that showed that lipid nanoparticles damage fertility, mammalian fertility. So they knew when they were making up this formula that it did this. In 2021, there was a study in Hong Kong, which again is overseen by the Chinese Communist Party, that showed that the first injection enlarges the heart, causes some problems in rats, and the second injection causes catastrophic harms in those rats. The hearts are enlarged, there's visible white patches on the hearts, and it's multi-organ system failure again. So to me, I'm not a scientist, and it's kind of lucky. I come from the world of politics and journalism. To me, it is obvious that that's an experiment to show the Chinese Communist Party how you kill Westerners without leaving fingerprints. There's more I can tell you about why I believe this is a bioweapon. Think about who got mandated. And I'm very much influenced in my conclusions about this by my husband, Brian O'Shea, who spent 12 years in military intelligence and then in the intelligence community. And from the very beginning was saying, this is China, it's a bioweapon. And I was like, honey, I love you, but that's crazy. And then he showed me so much primary source documentation that there's no way to avoid this conclusion. But look at who got mandated with these injections. And as a political consultant, you learn to reason backwards. You look at the effect and then you draw conclusions from the effect, because the story is made up always, right? You learn that as a political consultant. The principals will set a goal. They'll say, get us to this goal. And then the chief of staff goes to the message shop, meaning the storytellers, and says, tell a story to get people to accept this goal. And that's how politics works. So what is the effect, right? I'm not asking you to think about the story, which is save your grandma, do it for the community, right? Safe and effective. That's the story. The effect, who got mandated? Our military got mandated. Our first responders, our healthcare workers, our doctors and nurses got mandated. Why? The vaccine doesn't affect transmission. We know that. Why? Right? How do you cripple a society? Our elites' kids got mandated. I just spoke at Yale. I have loved ones at Princeton. I have loved ones at Cornell. These parents are distraught, which is why I love Hillsdale so much. But, how to cripple a country? Take out the kids of the leaders, right? Take out the kids of the wealthy, the kids of the elite. Who else got mandated? Firefighters got mandated. All the people we need in order to defend ourselves are the ones who got mandated. Pilots got mandated, right? Cripple a society. They went for those populations. And they went for those populations rigidly, right? There's no reason that every university except 6, including Hillsdale, had to mandate the kids, except that HHS gave them the money and they said you have to do it, right? Well, this is a captured administration and captured institutions that are allowing the CCP and their allies, the World Economic Forum, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to cripple our country. As Brian put it, the CCP wants our land, they want our natural resources, they don't want our people. So that's what you've got. And later studies like those of Ed Dowd show that disability among 18 to 39-year-olds is off the charts, which is just what you want in what's called an asymmetric warfare, which is the CCP likes to not have a kinetic war, but to kind of degrade and demoralize a population rather than having a hot war with shooting. And that's exactly what's going on. And the last thing I'll say for my evidence is that of the adverse events, I mentioned there are 42,000 of them in the Pfizer documents. 36,000 plus are in the United States. About 8,000 plus are in Western Europe in order of political importance. So Britain, Germany, France, Spain, Greece, Italy, like that. Out of all the rest of the adverse events, 7,000 adverse events, roughly, all the 51 countries around the world other than Western Europe and North America where this was deployed, all of those only account for 7,000. So that's not random, right? That's targeting North America and Western Europe. And the last thing I'll say for my evidence that this is a bioweapon, and this is super, super chilling and creepy, is that it's so easy to target a subject with this injection by things as simple as temperature or dose. Because lipid nanoparticles are liquid at super cold temperatures. You remember the news stories about it has to be really chilled, they have to have special refrigerators. That's true. But lipid nanoparticles coalesce, clot, solidify at room temperature and at body temperature. And what you've seen is the guidance about how to store these has changed constantly. So first it was like keep it in the freezer. And then it was like, you can leave it out for 2 hours. Then it was like, you can leave it out for 6 hours. So there's constant variation in the directions originating from China about how to store this injection, and temperature alone can cause problems. And the other thing I'll tell you is dose. And this is absolutely horrific. But Pfizer dose of active ingredients is 30 micrograms. Moderna is 100 micrograms, more than 3 times as much. And someone I love got injured by the Moderna vaccine. Well, in the Pfizer documents, it says that 100 micrograms is so high, they had to drop it internally due to its reactogenicity, Pfizer's words. But they didn't tell everyone who got the Moderna dose that this was too high and they shouldn't take a booster. They just kept going. Do you know what the dosage is for children? They want it to be 100 micrograms. Tiny children. So that is my incredibly dark summary to you of what's in the Pfizer documents. I now want to pivot in just the minute or two I have left to happier thoughts, because I don't want you to leave here, clinically depressed and giving up all hope. There's a lot of hope in truth. And again, that's why I love this community, even though I'm brand new here. Because the most horrible things can be faced if you embrace this principle of liberty and of truth and community. So Pfizer has announced that they have 430 million doses that have expired because no one wants them. And it's vanishingly small numbers of parents who have given in to the relentless propaganda to vaccinate their children with mRNA injection. So informed consent makes a difference, and informed consent is the law, which people conveniently forgot in the medical establishment in the last 2.5 years. We have lawyers suing Pfizer, and I do believe, and there are a lot of good bills that are being introduced to strip Pfizer of its impunity from lawsuits. And I thoroughly hope and believe, I believe we're looking at a mass murder situation, a war crime, crimes against humanity. And I believe and hope that all of these evildoers, as friendly as they look in their little outfits, talking to the cameras, I hope they will all face justice in this lifetime. And the last thing I want to say, and I promise I'll make it fast and I'll take questions, is this has been such a hard journey, for me and for Amy Kelly and for all these volunteers to go on, because we're really looking at this abyss of human evil every single day. It's like looking at Baba Yar, when that was first opened to the world. It's completely hard to believe that such a thing has taken place and is still taking place. But I guess very quickly, I just want to say that this experience has forced me to believe in God more literally than I had before. And I know that sounds paradoxical, but I felt like this evil overtook the world in lockstep, in perfect unison, in a way that I could not explain using my critical thinking, my great education. It didn't act like any history previously, right? It was far less random. And there was something metaphysical about it, and the way people were just lost in delusion, all in one delusion. The media all told one lie. Doctors who were healers one minute were death dealers the next minute. Something absolutely metaphysical about it that went beyond human history. So I do believe I've concluded, I don't have answers, but I've concluded that we're in a time, like really a biblical moment, where humanity is being asked to choose, basically. And I mean, this is very subjective, but I kind of believe that God is going, okay, this is how bad humans can be if you lose touch with me. It's this bad. So I don't really know the answer to that except to say out loud, which I never used to do, that I believe that. And, and I guess, I read the Bible a lot these days, and I read the Old Testament a lot. And I keep turning to, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and heal their land. So I believe that. So God willing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.